The sand-laden wind howled across the desolate plains of Hesperia, a planet of rust and amber that circled a dying star in the Draconis galaxy. Captain Rhea Kane stood at the edge of the exploration module, her environmental suit's visor reflecting the harsh sunlight as she surveyed the ancient ruins before her. The year was 2374, and the interplanetary exploration vessel Theris V had dispatched their Aurora scout ship to this wasteland 3 weeks ago on a mission that had begun with scientific curiosity and was now teetering on the edge of something far more profound. Captain, I'm getting unusual energy readings from the central chamber." Lieutenant Ramirez called out, his voice crackling through the comm system. "They don't match anything in our database." Rhea turned from the barren landscape, sand particles cascading off her suit in delicate rivulets. "Send the data to my display, Lieutenant, and tell Dr. Everett to prepare the sampling equipment." The ruins rose before her, a sprawling complex of structures that defied conventional architectural logic, geometric impossibilities carved from stone that had withstood millennia of punishing sandstorms. The Aurora team had been tasked with finding traces of the prehistoric Hesperian civilization. But what they'd discovered over the past weeks hinted at something far beyond their initial parameters. "Captain," the voice of Commander Nakamura, her second-in-command, came through her earpiece. "Federation Command is requesting an update on our findings. They're particularly interested in the energy signatures we detected yesterday." Rhea frowned. Command's sudden interest in energy signatures felt out of character for what was supposed to be an archaeological expedition. "Tell them we're still analyzing the data. We'll provide a comprehensive report once we've completed today's survey." She proceeded deeper into the ruins, her footsteps leaving temporary impressions in the fine sand before the ever-present wind erased them. The central chamber loomed ahead, its ceiling reaching impossibly high, adorned with symbols that seemed to shift and change when viewed from different angles. "Dr. Everett, what do you make of these markings?" Rhea asked, gesturing toward the wall where concentric circles interlocked with angular patterns. The older scientist adjusted his portable scanner. "If I didn't know better, I'd say they're some form of circuit diagram, Captain. But that would mean they had technology far beyond what we believed possible for their era." Rhea finished his thought. She ran her gloved hand over the engravings, feeling an almost imperceptible vibration beneath her fingertips. "There's more to this civilization than we were told." Later that evening, as Hesperia's 3 moons rose in staggered formation across the horizon, Rhea sat in her makeshift quarters within the Aurora's landing module, reviewing the day's findings. The data showed unmistakable evidence of advanced energy manipulation, possibly even quantum engineering from a civilization that was supposed to have been extinct for 50,000 years. A soft chime alerted her to an incoming transmission from the Theris V in orbit above. "Captain Kane." The stern face of Colonel Marcellus Severin appeared on her screen. As the senior Federation advisor aboard the Theris V, his unexpected communication triggered a flutter of unease in her stomach. Colonel," she acknowledged with a nod. "To what do I owe this pleasure?" His expression remained impassive. "I understand you've made some interesting discoveries today." "We have. I was planning to include them in tomorrow's report after we've conducted more thorough." "The Federation is dispatching a specialized research team," Marcellus interrupted. "They'll arrive within 72 hours to take over the investigation of the energy signatures." Rhea straightened in her chair. "Take over? With all due respect, Colonel, my team is more than capable of continuing this research. We've spent weeks cataloging these ruins and understanding their context. Your archaeological expertise is acknowledged." "Captain Kane," he replied, his tone leaving no room for debate. "But these energy readings fall under strategic resource protocol. The specialized team will handle it from here." You and your crew will assist in the transition and then return to standard survey operations in the southern hemisphere. The transmission ended before she could protest further, leaving Rhea staring at the blank screen. Something felt wrong. The Federation's sudden interest, the classified nature of the response, the way Marcellus had avoided her questions, all of it sent warning signals through her mind. She pulled up the energy readings again, studying the unusual patterns. What had they found that warranted such a rapid and secretive response? And why would the Federation classify archaeological findings under Strategic Resource Protocol, a designation typically reserved for military assets and exploitable energy sources? A knock at her door interrupted her thoughts. "Enter," she called. Commander Nakamura stepped inside, his usually composed face betraying concern. "Captain, I've just received unusual orders from Colonel Marcellus. We're to prepare the central chamber for a specialized team and relocate our equipment by tomorrow morning." "I know," Rhea replied, gesturing for him to sit. "Something doesn't add up, Nakamura. These ruins aren't just historical artifacts, they're hiding something the Federation seems very interested in." Nakamura lowered his voice. "There's more. I overheard a secure transmission between the Colonel and someone from the Interstellar Mining Consortium. They mentioned extraction protocols and asset security. That doesn't sound like archaeological research to me." Rhea's suspicions crystallized into certainty. "They're not sending researchers, they're sending miners. Whatever we've found, they want to exploit it." She stood, decision made. "We need to document everything before they arrive. Full scans, samples, copies of all data. If the Federation wants to turn this historical site into a mining operation, they'll have to acknowledge what they're destroying." The next morning, Rhea led a small team deeper into the ruins than they had ventured before. The central chamber had revealed a hidden passage, activated when their equipment had inadvertently triggered something in the ancient mechanisms. "This architecture is remarkable," Dr. Everett marveled as they descended a spiraling passage. "The precision of these cuts, the mathematical relationships between the chambers, it suggests a level of technological understanding that rivals our own." Rhea nodded, her light illuminating symbols that grew more complex and numerous as they descended. What if they didn't die out? What if they just moved somewhere else? The passage opened into a vast underground chamber dominated by a crystalline structure that pulsed with soft, amber light. The team fell silent, awestruck by the sight. "It's alive," whispered Lieutenant Ramirez, his scanner displaying readings that made no scientific sense. Rhea approached the crystal formation cautiously. At its center was a swirling sand-like substance that seemed to both flow like liquid and sparkle like stars. "This is what they're after," she realized aloud. "This is the energy source." Before anyone could respond, their communication devices simultaneously emitted a high-pitched alert. "Captain," Nakamura's panicked voice broke through. "We're detecting a massive seismic disturbance directly beneath your position. The readings are off the charts." The ground beneath them trembled, fine sand cascading from the ceiling. "Everyone out, now," Rhea ordered. But even as the words left her mouth, she knew they wouldn't make it in time. The tremors intensified, and the crystalline structure before them began to pulse more rapidly, its amber glow deepening to a threatening red. "It's not natural," Dr. Everett shouted over the rumbling. "These are controlled detonations. Someone's triggering this." Rhea's mind raced to the only logical conclusion: they were being eliminated. Someone didn't want witnesses to whatever was about to happen here. "You move toward the eastern passage," she commanded, pushing her team ahead of her. "There's a thermal vent that might provide some shelter." The world exploded around them. The last thing Rhea saw was the crystalline structure shattering, releasing a blinding wave of energy that rushed toward them like a tsunami of light. She felt herself thrown against something hard, pain blossoming across her body, and then darkness claimed her. Above ground, Commander Nakamura watched in horror as the sand above the ruins erupted in a massive explosion, a column of dust and debris shooting skyward. The monitoring equipment showed no life signs from Ria's team. "Captain Kane, Dr. Everett, Lieutenant Ramirez, does anyone copy?" His desperate calls met only static. Hours later, as rescue attempts proved futile amid continuing seismic activity, a solemn Colonel Marcellus Severin addressed the remaining crew of the Aurora. "It is with deep regret that I must declare Captain Ria Kane and her survey team lost in action," he announced, his face a mask of practiced sorrow. "Their sacrifice in the pursuit of knowledge will be honored by the Federation. The instability of the ruins was an unforeseen tragedy." Commander Nakamura stared at him with barely concealed suspicion. "Sir, with respect, our readings indicated controlled detonations, not natural seismic activity." Colonel Marcellus fixed him with a cold stare. "Your equipment was clearly malfunctioning, Commander. The official report will cite structural collapse due to age and environmental stress. I expect your full cooperation in this matter." As the sun set on Hesperia, the remaining crew was ordered to withdraw to a safe distance. Within hours, heavy mining equipment began to descend from the Theris V landing where the ruins had once stood. Captain Ria Kane was officially declared dead, along with her team, victims of an unfortunate archaeological accident. The mission to study Hesperia's ancient civilization was quietly reclassified as a resource extraction operation, and the memory of Ria's questions faded into the howling desert winds. But beneath the surface, in a place where sand and stars seemed to merge, something stirred in the darkness. Pain was her first sensation, a deep, all-encompassing agony that seemed to penetrate every cell of her body. The second was heat and oppressive, sulphurous warmth that pressed against her from all sides. When consciousness finally returned to Ria Kane, she found herself partially submerged in a pool of thick, golden liquid that bubbled and steamed around her. She gasped, drawing in air that tasted of minerals and ash. Her environmental suit was gone, yet somehow she was breathing, surviving in what should have been lethal conditions. The chamber around her was dimly lit by the same amber glow she'd seen in the crystal formation, though now it seemed to emanate from the liquid itself and, more disturbingly, from beneath her own skin. Ria lifted her arm, watching in disbelief as golden light traced patterns through her veins like luminous circuitry. What had happened to her? How long had she been here? With tremendous effort, she pulled herself from the pool, her body leaving a glowing trail as she collapsed onto the stone floor. Her tactical chronometer, miraculously still functional on her wrist, indicated she had been unconscious for 48 hours. 2 full days since the explosion. 2 days during which her crew, her ship, had surely given her up for dead. Memories flooded back, the explosion, the betrayal. She remembered Marcellus's cold eyes on the view screen, the unusual orders, the convenient timing of the seismic event. This was no accident. She had been meant to die here, along with anyone who had seen what lay beneath the ruins. "They did not expect you to survive," came a voice from the shadows, melodic and resonant in a way that seemed to vibrate through the chamber rather than simply echo off its walls. Ria scrambled to her feet, searching for the source of the voice. "Who's there? Show yourself!" From the darkness emerged a figure unlike any she had encountered in her years of space exploration. Tall and slender, with skin that seemed to shimmer with an internal constellation of lights. The being approached with fluid grace. Its features were vaguely humanoid, but where eyes should have been, there were only swirling vortices of light, like miniature galaxies contained within orbital sockets. "I am Orjin," the The being introduced itself, its voice continuing to resonate at a frequency that seemed to bypass her ears and speak directly to her mind. I am what your kind might call a technomancerone who bridges the divide between spirit and machine, between consciousness and creation. Rhea backed away, her training kicking in despite her weakened state. What are you, some kind of Hesperian? The being's mouth curved into what might have been a smile. I am of Hesperia, yes, though not in the way you imagine. The people you sought, the civilization you hoped to study, they did not perish. They evolved. Some, like myself, chose to merge with the very energy that powered their world. Others departed for the stars, becoming beings of pure consciousness. Origin gestured to the pool from which Rhea had emerged. You lay dying when I found you. Your companions were beyond saving, but you had touched the sand soul, and it had recognized something in you. I brought you to the healing pools, but it was the nanites within the thermal spring that saved you, rebuilding your broken body cell by cell. Rhea looked down at her arms again, at the golden light flowing beneath her skin. What did you do to me? I did nothing but provide the opportunity for healing. The nanites are ancient technology, created by my ancestors to repair and enhance. They have bonded with your cellular structure, integrated with your nervous system. You are still yourself, Captain Rhea Kane, but you are also something more now. The revelation should have terrified her, but Rhea felt only a strange sense of calm, as if some part of her had been expecting this. The crystal formation in the central chamber, what was it? We call it the heart of Hesperia. It is a concentration of sand soul, the living energy that flows through this planet and once powered our civilization. What your people would destroy for fuel, we recognized as a conscious entity, a partner rather than a resource. Rhea's thoughts turned dark. My crew. They left me here. They think I'm dead. Some believed you dead, Origin corrected. Others orchestrated your death. There is a difference that matters. The truth of those words struck her like a physical blow. She had been betrayed, left for dead by those she had trusted with her life. And for what? Access to an energy source they didn't understand? Rage bloomed within her, hot and violent, sending ripples of golden light cascading beneath her skin. The nanites responded to her emotion, intensifying their glow. I need to get back, she said, her voice hardening with resolve. I need to stop them before they destroy everything here. Origin tilted his head, the galaxy eyes swirling more rapidly. Vengeance is a path that consumes, Captain. It offers power but demands much in return. This isn't about vengeance, Rhea insisted, though the burning in her chest suggested otherwise. It's about justice, about protecting what they would destroy without understanding. Perhaps, the being conceded. But before you can confront those who betrayed you, you must first master what you have become. The nanites now flowing through your system are powerful tools, but they respond to both conscious command and unconscious emotion. Without control, they will consume you from within. Rhea looked down at her hands, watching as the golden light pulsed in time with her heartbeat. Then teach me. Show me how to control this. Whatever it is I've become. Origin extended a luminous hand. Your journey begins now, Captain Rhea Kane. But know this, the path ahead will change you in ways you cannot yet imagine. The woman who emerges may bear little resemblance to the one who was betrayed. Rhea took the offered hand, feeling a surge of energy pass between them. The woman who was betrayed died in that explosion, she said, her voice steady with newfound determination. I'm what rose from her ashes. In the days that followed, Rhea underwent a transformation that transcended physical healing. Under Orjin's guidance, she learned to direct the nanites that had integrated with her body, using them to enhance her strength, speed, and senses beyond human limitation. More challenging was learning to control the emotional resonance that triggered unpredictable surges of power. The nanites respond to your deepest self, Orjin explained as they sat in a meditation chamber deep beneath the surface. They amplify what already exists within you. Your rage gives them destructive potential. Your compassion allows them to heal. Both are tools, neither inherently superior to the other. Rhea closed her eyes, focusing on the flow of energy through her body. But the anger is stronger. It comes more easily. It is fresher, the technomancer corrected. Pain leaves deeper initial impressions than joy. But the true power of the sand soul comes not from emotion but from intention, from the clarity of purpose that transcends reactionary feeling. As weeks passed, Rhea explored the vast underground network of chambers and tunnels that comprised the true Hesperian civilization, not the ruins above that had merely been ceremonial structures, but the living, breathing technological marvel below. She learned that the sand soul, the energy source the Federation sought to exploit, was indeed semi-sentient, a collective consciousness that had evolved alongside the Hesperians for millennia. "They're destroying something they don't understand," she said one day, watching through Orjin's monitoring systems as massive mining equipment tore into the surface ruins. "They think it's just energy, just a resource." Such has always been the way of expanding civilizations. Orjin replied, "They see with eyes that measure value in extraction rather than symbiosis." Rhea's hands clenched. "I need to stop them, but I can't do it alone." "You are not alone," came a new voice, rough and determined. Rhea turned to find a woman standing in the chamber entrance, stocky and weathered, with skin darkened by Hesperia's harsh sun and eyes that gleamed with the same golden light that now ran through Rhea's veins. "This is Talia Shen," Orjin introduced. "She leads the nomadic miners who work in harmony with the sand soul rather than against it." Talia stepped forward, assessing Rhea with a critical eye. "So you're the dead captain who's causing such a stir up top. Your Federation friends have doubled security since they started pulling pure soul crystal from the chamber. They're nervous about something." "They should be," Rhea replied. "How many people do you have?" 3 dozen who can fight, spread across the southern dunes. We've been sabotaging their equipment when we can, but they're bringing in more guards, more weapons." Rhea nodded, a plan already forming in her mind. "I need to know everything, their patterns, their weaknesses, and especially their command structure. Colonel Marcellus Severin is directing this from above, but he must have lieutenants on the ground." For the first time since her rebirth, Rhea felt something beyond rage and betrayal. She felt purpose. The nanites sensed the shift, their golden glow steadying into a more controlled luminescence beneath her skin. "We begin now," she declared, turning to both Talia and Orjin. "I need to understand exactly what they're extracting and what they plan to do with it. Then we'll show them exactly who and what they're dealing with." That night, Rhea ventured to the surface for the first time since the explosion that should have killed her. With her enhanced abilities, she moved like a shadow through the mining camp that had sprung up around the ruins, her body temperature regulated by the nanites to avoid detection by thermal sensors. From a hidden vantage point, she observed the operation with growing horror. The Federation troops had established a perimeter around the entire archaeological site, and heavy machinery extracted glowing crystals from the earth fragments of the larger formation she had seen before the explosion. Each crystal was carefully contained in specialized fields before being transported to a heavily guarded processing facility. As she watched, a familiar figure emerged from the main command center, Commander Nakamura, her former second in command. Her heart clenched at the sight of him. Had he been part of the betrayal? Or was he simply following orders, unaware of the true nature of what had happened? She needed to know, moving with preternatural stealth. Ria followed Nakamura as he made his nightly inspection of the perimeter. When he paused in a moment of solitude, staring out at the desert with a troubled expression, she made her move. "Commander," she whispered from the shadows. Nakamura whirled, his hand instinctively reaching for his sidearm. When he saw her, his face drained of color as though he were seeing a ghost which, in his mind, he was. Captain Kane," he gasped, weapon half drawn. "It's not possible. We recovered remains. There was nothing left." "You recovered what they wanted you to find," Ria replied, staying just beyond the reach of the camp's lights. "Tell me, Nakamura, were you part of it? Did you know they planned to murder us all for what we discovered?" His shock seemed genuine, his weapon lowering as he stepped toward her. "No, God, no, Captain. We were told it was a natural collapse. I questioned the official story, but Colonel Marcellus threatened to court-martial anyone who challenged the report." He paused, studying her with growing wonder. "How did you survive? And what's happened to you?" In the dim light, the golden tracery beneath Ria's skin was faintly visible, giving her an otherworldly appearance. "I was saved by what's left of the Hesperian civilization. The same civilization that created the energy source Marcellus is now destroying." She stepped closer, allowing him to see the changes in her more clearly. "I need to know who I can trust. Commander, the situation is far more complex than an archaeological expedition gone wrong." Nakamura's expression hardened. "The mining operation is being run by Interstellar Mining Consortium troops wearing Federation uniforms. Half the crew from the Theris V has been replaced with IMC personnel. They're calling the crystals luminite and claiming they'll revolutionize faster than light travel. But the extraction process is destabilizing the entire region." "And Marcellus? He arrives for inspection every third day. He's due tomorrow." Nakamura hesitated, then added, "Captain, whatever you're planning, you should know they've got fail-safes in place. If the operation is compromised, they're prepared to implement what they're calling total resource securitization. Sounds like corporate speak for destroying what they can't have." Ria absorbed this information with grim determination. "I need your help, Commander. Not everyone will make it through what's coming, but if we don't act, they'll strip this planet of something far more precious than an energy source." "The crew is divided," Nakamura admitted. "Some suspect the truth but are afraid to speak up. Others are true believers in the Federation's right to exploit what they find." "Find those you trust," Ria instructed. "Be ready to act when the time comes." And Nakamura. She fixed him with a stare that seemed to glow from within. "If you betray me again, you'll learn firsthand what I've become." Before he could respond, she melted back into the shadows, leaving him staring after her with a mixture of awe and fear. When she returned to the underground sanctuary, Talia was waiting with new intelligence. "The mining operation is accelerating," she reported. "They've broken through to the secondary chamber and have begun extracting crystallized sand soul directly. My people intercepted communications about a breakthrough in containment technology. They believe they found a way to transport the energy without destabilization." Orjin, who had been communing with the planet's energy network, emerged from his meditative state with obvious distress. "They are wrong. The soul cannot be contained by their crude methods. Already the balance shifts. The planetary network strains against their intrusion." "What happens if they continue?" Ria asked. The technomancer's galaxy eyes swirled with dark patterns. "Catastrophic harmonic disruption. What your people might call a chain reaction. They will trigger a planetary collapse that will destroy Hesperia and release enough energy to tear a hole in space-time itself. The implications were staggering. Not just the destruction of an ancient civilization and a unique form of consciousness, but potentially a disaster that could affect the entire star system. We move tomorrow, Rhea decided. When Martellus arrives for his inspection, he's the head of this operation, and he's the one who needs to answer for what's been done. That night, as the others prepared, Rhea sat alone in the healing chamber where she had first awakened, her hands submerged in the golden liquid that had restored her. The nanites within her resonated with the fluid, creating patterns of light that danced across the surface. Her thoughts were a storm of contradictions. The rage that had driven her since her rebirth still burned, demanding justice for herself and her fallen team. Yet Origins' teachings echoed in her mind. Power drawn from rage was unstable, destructive not just to its target but to its wielder. "Your mind troubles you," Origin observed, entering the chamber silently. Rhea didn't look up. "Tomorrow I face the man who tried to kill me, who did kill my friends. I don't know if I can control what's inside me when I see him." The technomancer settled beside her, his luminous form reflecting in the pool. "The nanites amplify what is already within you. Captain, your rage is justified, but it is not all that you are. Remember why you fight, not just for vengeance, but for justice. Not just for the past, but for the future." "And if justice demands his death?" Rhea asked, finally meeting the swirling galaxies of Origin's gaze. "Then let it be justice that decides, not hatred," he replied. "The difference may seem semantic to you now, but it will determine whether you master the power within you or are consumed by it." As dawn broke over Hesperia's rust-colored horizon, Rhea stood at the entrance to the underground network, watching as a Federation shuttle descended toward the mining camp. Even from this distance, she could sense the distinctive energy signature of the man who had ordered her death. Colonel Marcellus Severin had arrived for his inspection, unaware that the ghost of his past crimes awaited him. "Ready?" Talia asked, checking the specialized disruptor weapon she carried, designed to interfere with the mining equipment's containment fields without damaging the crystallized sand soul itself. Rhea nodded, feeling the nanites respond to her focused intention, golden light flowing more intensely beneath her skin. "Remember the plan. Your people disable the perimeter security and create diversions at the extraction sites. Nakamura and his loyal crew members will secure the command center. I'll deal with Martellus." "And if your commander friend has betrayed us?" Talia asked bluntly. "Then he'll learn why that's a mistake," Rhea replied, her voice carrying an edge that made even the hardened nomad miner step back. The attack began precisely as the morning shift change occurred, when security would be at its most vulnerable. Talia's nomads struck simultaneously at 3 extraction points, using their intimate knowledge of Hesperian terrain to appear and disappear like desert wraiths. Alarms blared across the camp as explosions disabled heavy machinery and power relays failed in coordinated succession. Rhea moved through the chaos like a force of nature, the nanites enhancing her speed and strength beyond human capability. Federation and IMC troops fired upon her, but with a thought, she created a shimmering field of energy that deflected their projectiles. Those who came too close found themselves flung backward by pulses of golden force that erupted from her outstretched hands. Through it all, she maintained her focus on a single objective: the command center where Martellus would be coordinating the defense. Inside that very facility, Commander Nakamura had indeed made his choice. As planned, he and 7 loyal crew members had overwhelmed the control room security, securing access to the camp's systems. Perimeter defenses disabled, he reported through the secure communication link Talia's people had established. Internal security is attempting to override. We can hold them off for 20 minutes. Maximum. That's all I need, Rhea responded, her voice carrying an otherworldly resonance through the channel. She approached the command center, cutting through the last defensive line with methodical precision. The nanites responded to her every thought, every intention, transforming her from a captain into something that seemed more myth than mortal, golden-veined harbinger of judgment. The doors to the command center slid open, revealing Colonel Marcellus Severin standing amid holographic displays of the deteriorating situation. Unlike his subordinates, he showed no surprise at seeing her alive. Instead, a cold smile spread across his face. Captain Kane, he greeted her, as casual as if they were meeting at a Federation reception. I suspected you might have survived. The energy readings from the explosion were unusual. Rhea stepped into the room, golden light pulsing visibly through her veins. You murdered my team. You're destroying a sentient energy network that's existed for millennia. And for what? Power? Profit? Marcellus gestured dismissively. Progress, Captain. The Luminite crystals will revolutionize interstellar travel, make faster-than-light communication possible across galaxies. The Federation will enter a new golden age, at the cost of an entire civilization. Rhea countered. The energy you're extracting isn't just a resource, it's alive, conscious in ways we barely understand. The Colonel's expression hardened. Spare me your newfound spiritual awakening. You've clearly been affected by prolonged exposure to the Luminite. It's regrettable, but not unexpected. He tapped a command into the console before him. Fortunately, we've developed countermeasures for just such an eventuality. A high-pitched sonic pulse filled the room, bringing Rhea to her knees as the nanites in her system reacted violently to the frequency. Pain lanced through her body, the golden light beneath her skin flickering erratically. Targeted resonance disruption, Marcellus explained, circling her writhing form with clinical interest. Designed specifically to destabilize the nanite structures we discovered in the ruins. Quite effective, wouldn't you say? Through the haze of agony, Rhea realized the terrible truth. You knew, she gasped. You knew about the nanites, about the consciousness in the crystals. This wasn't a discovery mission at all. The Federation has been studying fragments of Hesperian technology for decades. Marcellus confirmed. But we needed a live integration subject to understand its full potential. Your death provided the perfect opportunity. Though I must say, I expected the nomad population to find you, not for you to become quite so enhanced. With cruel efficiency, he increased the intensity of the sonic pulse. Now, Captain Kane, you'll help us understand exactly how the nanites have integrated with your system. The advancements we can make with this knowledge will far outweigh the unfortunate circumstances of your team's demise. Rhea felt the nanites destabilizing within her, their once harmonious flow becoming chaotic, painful. The golden light flared and dimmed in irregular patterns as her consciousness began to fade. In that moment of extremity, she reached inward, remembering Origins' teachings. The nanites respond not just to emotion but to intention, not just to rage but to purpose. With tremendous effort, she focused not on her pain or her hatred for Marcellus, but on her connection to the Sand Soul, the living energy network that permeated Hesperia. She reached out to it with her mind, offering not command but communion, asking not for power but for harmony. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Golden light erupted from her body, not in the chaotic pulses of before, but in a steady, brilliant radiance that filled the command center. The sonic emitter shorted out, circuits fried by the sudden energy surge. Marcellus staggered backward, shielding his eyes from the intensity of the light. "What are you doing?" he demanded, reaching for his sidearm. Rhea rose to her feet, the nanites now flowing in perfect synchronization with her consciousness. "I'm showing you what you failed to understand," she replied, her voice resonating with a power that seemed to come from the planet itself. "The Sand Soul isn't a resource to be extracted, it's a partner to be respected." With a gesture, she created a swirling vortex of golden energy between them, a miniature representation of the crystalline structure she had seen in the central chamber. Within it, patterns formed and dissolved, a visual language more complex than any human communication. "This is what you're destroying," she told him. "Not just energy, but information, the accumulated knowledge and consciousness of an entire civilization." For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Marcellus's face. "Impossible. Our tests showed no signs of sentient organization in the crystal structures. Because you were testing fragments, Colonel, dead pieces separated from the whole." She expanded the vortex, allowing it to envelop the entire room in a sphere of flowing golden light. "This is the truth you refuse to see." Through the vortex, Marcellus witnessed visions of Hesperia's pasta-thriving civilization that had evolved beyond physical form, merging with the energetic substrate of their planet. He saw how they had learned to exist in harmony with the Sand Soul, becoming its caretakers rather than its exploiters. And he saw the future his actions would create, the catastrophic collapse that would occur if the extraction continued. A chain reaction that would tear Hesperia apart and release a wave of destructive energy across the star system. "Stop the extraction," Rhea commanded, the golden light intensifying around her. "Order your people to withdraw from this planet." Marcellus's shock gave way to calculated determination. "And if I refuse, will you kill me, Captain? Become the murderer you accuse me of being?" The question struck at the heart of Rhea's internal conflict. The rage within her demanded retribution, demanded that this man pay for the lives he had taken, the betrayal he had orchestrated. The nanites surged in response to that rage, golden light coalescing around her hands in deadly potential. But in that crucial moment, she remembered Orjan's words. "Let it be justice that decides, not hatred." "No," she decided, the deadly energy dissipating. "I won't kill you, but you will face justice for what you've done." Before Marcellus could respond, a new alarm blared through the command center. The main view screen activated automatically, showing a catastrophic failure at the primary extraction site. The containment fields around the largest crystal formation were collapsing, releasing pulses of uncontrolled energy that ripped through the mining equipment. "What have you done?" Marcellus demanded, rushing to the console. "This isn't me," Rhea realized with growing horror. "You've pushed the extraction too far, too fast. The harmonic disruption Orjan warned about, its beginning." Nakamura's voice came urgently through the communication system. "Captain, we're detecting massive energy fluctuations throughout the underground network. The geological stability of the entire region is compromised." On the screen, workers fled as fissures opened in the ground, releasing geysers of golden energy. The very fabric of Hesperia seemed to be tearing apart, just as Orjan had predicted. "How do we stop it?" Rhea demanded, turning to Marcellus. The colonel's face had gone pale as he studied the readings. "We can't. Once the harmonic cascade begins, it's self-sustaining. The fail-safes were designed to trigger this very reaction if we lost control of the operation." "You built in a doomsday protocol?" Rhea was incredulous. "Why?" "Standard IMC procedure," he replied with clinical detachment. "If we can't have the resource, no one can. The resulting destruction eliminates evidence and discourages competition." Rhea's disgust was overshadowed by urgent necessity. "Evacuate your people," she ordered. Get everyone off the surface and back to the Theris V. For once, Marcellus didn't argue. He transmitted the evacuation order, watching as panic spread through the mining operation. Shuttles began launching immediately, carrying personnel away from the increasingly unstable surface. "What about you, Captain?" Nakamura asked, appearing in the doorway with his weapon trained on Marcellus. "We have a shuttle ready." Rhea shook her head. "I need to get to the central chamber. There might still be a way to stabilize the reaction." "That's suicide," Marcellus stated flatly. "The energy levels down there must be off the charts." "Probably," she agreed, "but thanks to you and your experiments, I'm uniquely qualified to survive them." She turned to leave, then paused, fixing Marcellus with a golden-eyed stare. "Commander Nakamura, escort the Colonel to the Theris V and place him under arrest for the murder of Dr. Everett, Lieutenant Ramirez, and the rest of my team." The nanites recorded everything he just confessed. As Nakamura led the Colonel away, Rhea made her way through the chaos of the evacuating camp. The ground shook beneath her feet, fissures opening to reveal the golden glow of sand soul energy rising from deep below. The very air seemed charged with potential, making conventional electronics malfunction and communication systems fail. She found Talia coordinating the evacuation of her nomad fighters, her face grim as she watched her home planet beginning to tear itself apart. "The Technomancer says there's still a chance," Talia reported. "He's at the primary node, attempting to re-establish the harmonic balance, but the disruption is too widespread for him to manage alone." "Then I'll help him," Rhea decided. "The nanites in my system are attuned to the sand soul now. Maybe together we can stabilize it." Talia grasped her arm. "He said to tell you that it would require complete integration, a merging that you might not survive as yourself." The implication was clear. To save Hesperia, Rhea might need to sacrifice her humanity, becoming something more like Orgina, being of energy and consciousness rather than flesh and blood. "Get your people to safety," Rhea told her, resolve hardening within her. "I'll do what needs to be done." As Talia reluctantly departed with her fighters, Rhea made her way to the heart of the disruption, the central chamber where she had first discovered the crystal formation, now a maelstrom of unleashed energy. The underground passages shook violently around her, ancient stone cracking under the strain of forces never meant to be unleashed so suddenly. In the chamber itself, she found Orjan floating at the center of a swirling vortex of golden light, his form partially dissolved into the energy stream. The crystalline structure that had once stood there was now a churning mass of raw sand soul, its structured consciousness fragmenting into chaos. "Orjan," she called out. The nanites in her system automatically creating a protective field around her as she approached the edge of the vortex. The Technomancer's voice resonated directly in her mind, no longer needing physical sound to communicate. "The harmony is broken, Captain. The extraction process has damaged the central node beyond my ability to repair alone." "Tell me what to do," she responded, stepping closer to the edge of the maelstrom. "How can I help?" "The nanites within you are extensions of the sand soul," he explained. "They carry its original pattern, its undamaged consciousness. If you join with me in the flow, we might be able to re-establish the harmonic structure before the cascade becomes irreversible." "And what happens to me if I do that?" Orjan's form flickered, becoming momentarily more distinct before dissolving further into the energy flow. "Transformation, Captain, not death, but change. You would become as I am, a bridge between worlds, between forms, neither fully human nor fully energy, but something that exists in the balance between." The chamber shuddered violently, chunks of ceiling collapsing around them as the planet's structural integrity continued to deteriorate. "We have no time for deliberation," Orjan urged. "The cascade approaches criticality. If we do not act now, Hesperia will be destroyed, and the resulting space-time rupture will threaten the entire system. Rhea stood at the threshold of transformation, facing a choice that would irrevocably change her. The human part of her, the captain who had been betrayed, who had sworn vengeance, hesitated at the prospect of surrendering that identity. But the part of her that had been reborn in the healing pools, that had learned to commune with the consciousness of an ancient civilization, recognized the necessity of sacrifice. With a deep breath, she stepped into the vortex. The sensation was beyond description. Pain and ecstasy intertwined as the nanites in her system responded to the massive influx of sand soul energy. Her physical form began to dissolve, golden light replacing flesh and blood, consciousness expanding beyond the limitations of her human mind. In that moment of transformation, Rhea experienced the full depth of the Hesperian consciousness. Millions of years of accumulated knowledge and experience flowing through her like a cosmic river. She saw the birth of their civilization, their evolution beyond physical form, their decision to become caretakers of their world rather than continue expanding outward. And she understood, with perfect clarity, what needed to be done. Together with Orjin, she reached into the chaotic energy patterns of the disrupted sand soul, imposing the original harmonic structure that the nanites in her system had preserved. It was like conducting an impossibly complex symphony, bringing discordant instruments back into alignment note by note, measure by measure. The effort was tremendous, taxing even her enhanced capabilities to their limits. As the harmonic pattern slowly reasserted itself, Rhea felt her consciousness beginning to fragment, unable to maintain cohesion under the strain. "I'm losing myself," she communicated to Orjin through their merged consciousness. "Focus on your core truth." The technomancer guided her. "Not your name or your past, but the essence of who you are, the pattern that defines you beyond circumstance." With the last of her human will, Rhea concentrated on that essential self, not Captain Caney of the Aurora, not the betrayed officer seeking vengeance, but the woman who had chosen justice over hatred, who had risked everything to protect a civilization not her own. That core identity became her anchor as the transformation completed. The harmonic pattern of the sand soul stabilized. The catastrophic cascade halted just short of the critical threshold. Throughout Hesperia, the violent tremors subsided, fissures closed, and the golden energy returned to its natural flow patterns beneath the surface. In the central chamber, now quiet and still, something new took form, a being of golden light and consciousness, neither fully human nor fully energy, but a synthesis of both. Where Rhea Caney had stood, there now existed a luminous figure with echoes of her human form but transcending its limitations. "Welcome, sister," Orjin greeted her, his own form now stabilized once more. "You have done what few could imagine. You have been reborn twice." The being that had been Rhea examined her new form with wonder, feeling the expanded consciousness that now accompanied it. She could sense the entire network of sand soul energy that permeated Hesperia, could communicate with it directly as a part of its greater whole. "What happens now?" she asked, her voice no longer producing sound waves but resonating directly on an energetic level. "Now, we rebuild," Orjin replied. "The damage done by the extraction can be repaired over time. And you, sister, must decide your path forward. Your transformation is not complete. You can still choose to reclaim more of your human form if you wish, though you will never again be fully as you were." The choice was not an easy one. Part of her longed to return to the stars, to confront Marcellus and ensure he faced justice for his crimes. Another part recognized that her transformation had given her a unique position to protect Hesperia from future exploitation. "There must be balance," she decided. I need to retain enough of my humanity to serve as a bridge between worlds, to help both the Federation and Hesperia understand each other. A wise choice, Orjan acknowledged. Few can stand in both realms and maintain perspective. Over the following days, as the last of the mining operation departed from Hesperia's surface, Rhea learned to control her new form, solidifying her energy into a more human appearance when needed while maintaining her connection to the Sand Soul network. The nanites that had once been foreign elements in her system were now fully integrated, allowing her to shift between states of being with increasing control. 1 week after the catastrophe had been averted, a single shuttle descended from the Theris V, landing at the edge of what had once been the mining camp. Commander Nakamura emerged alone, approaching the ruins with obvious apprehension. Captain Kane," he called out, searching the seemingly abandoned landscape. "Are you here?" Rhea materialized before him, her form shimmering with golden light, though now shaped in a recognizable human silhouette. Nakamura took an involuntary step back, his hand moving instinctively toward his weapon before he caught himself. "It's still me, Commander," she assured him, her voice echoing with harmonic undertones. "Just evolved." "We thought you were dead again," he said, studying her transformed appearance with wonder. When the energy reading stabilized and all communication from the surface ceased, "We assumed the worst." "What happened to Marcellus?" she asked. Nakamura's expression hardened. "He's in custody aboard the Theris V, but I'm not sure justice will be served. He's already claiming that his actions were authorized at the highest levels of the Federation. There are powerful interests who want the Luminate, or the Sand Soul, as you call it." "Then they'll have to negotiate," Rhea replied. "Not as exploiters, but as partners. The Hesperians aren't extinct, Commander. They've evolved beyond what we recognized as life, but they're very much alive and now. I stand with them." She gestured to the landscape around them, where the golden glow of Sand Soul energy could now be seen flowing just beneath the surface. A network of luminous veins spreading across the desert. What happened here doesn't have to be repeated. There are ways to share the benefits of the Sand Soul without destroying its consciousness, ways that could benefit both civilizations. Nakamura regarded her thoughtfully. "You're proposing to be an ambassador?" "Something like that," she agreed. "Though I suspect translator might be more accurate. The Hesperians communicate in ways most humans can't perceive. I can bridge that gap now." "And if the Federation refuses to negotiate, if they send more mining operations?" Rhea's form brightened, golden light pulsing with greater intensity. "Then they'll learn that Hesperia is no longer defenseless. The planet awakened during the crisis. Commander, the consciousness that slumbered for millennia is stirring again." As if to emphasize her point, the ground beneath them trembled slightly, a reminder of the power that now flowed in controlled harmony through the planet's core. "I'll convey your message," Nakamura promised. "But you should know word of what happened here has already spread throughout the fleet. The crew members who witnessed your return, your transformation, they're telling your story. They're calling you a legend." Rhea smiled, the expression carrying through her luminous form. "Legends are useful, Commander. They inspire change. Perhaps this one will help the Federation reconsider its approach to the wonders it discovers among the stars." After Nakamura departed, Rhea stood watching as the shuttle ascended toward the Theris V in orbit above. Orjan materialized beside her, his galaxy eyes swirling with pleased patterns. "You chose a difficult path," the technomancer observed. "The space between worlds is never an easy place to dwell." "It's where I belong now," she replied. "Not fully human anymore, not fully Hesperian, but perhaps that's exactly what both civilizations need." She turned her gaze to the horizon, where Hesperia's 3 moons were rising in their staggered formation, casting multiple shadows across the desert landscape. The golden light of the Sand Soul Network responded to the moonlight, creating patterns of luminescence that danced across the dunes like living art. They left me for dead, Rhea reflected, her transformed consciousness experiencing the memory with newfound perspective. But in doing so, they allowed me to be reborn into something greater than I was before. And what will you become next? Orjan asked. This transformation is not an ending but a beginning. Rhea extended her hand, allowing the golden energy that comprised her new form to flow outward, connecting with the larger network that pulsed beneath Hesperia's surface. Through that connection, she could feel the stirring consciousness of the planet itself, ancient, patient, and now awakening to a universe far changed from the one it had known before. I don't know what I'll become, she admitted, but I know why I'll become it, not for vengeance, not even for justice alone, but for understanding, for connection between worlds that have forgotten how to speak to each other. As night fell fully on Hesperia, Rhea Caney, once captain, once betrayed, now legend, dissolved her physical form, merging temporarily with the golden flow of the Sand Soul. Through its network, she could perceive the entirety of the planet at once, could feel the remnants of the ancient Hesperian civilization stirring from their long dormancy. Curious about the being who now moved among them as both ambassador and protector, the path ahead would not be easy. The Federation's hunger for resources would not be satiated by a single setback. Marcellus was merely one representative of a larger mindset that viewed the galaxy as a treasure house to be plundered rather than a community to be joined. But for the first time since the explosion that had nearly claimed her life, Rhea felt something beyond anger, beyond the desire for retribution. She felt purpose, a clarity of mission that transcended personal grievance. They had left her for dead, abandoning her in the darkness beneath Hesperia's surface. She had returned as something they could scarcely comprehend, not a vengeful ghost, but a harbinger of transformation, a bridge between worlds that had forgotten how to communicate. In the flowing consciousness of the Sand Soul, among the ancient minds of a civilization far older than humanity's first fumbling steps beyond Earth, Rhea Caney had found not just survival, but rebirth. They had left her for dead. She had come back a legend. And legends, as Commander Nakamura had recognized, had power to shape the future in ways that weapons and mining operations never could. As the stars wheeled overhead, their light mingling with the golden glow that now permeated Hesperia's surface. Rhea embraced her new existence, not human, not alien, but something unprecedented, a fusion of consciousness and energy, of past and future. The Sand Soul flowed through her, around her, carrying the wisdom of ages and the potential of what was yet to come. And in that flow, Rhea Caney, once betrayed, twice reborn, found the peace that had eluded her human form. Not an ending, but a beginning. Not death, but transformation. Not vengeance, but something far more powerful, the chance to forge a new way forward, to prevent the cycle of exploitation and destruction from claiming more victims across the stars. They had left her for dead. She had become immortal,